Welcome, beautiful souls, to this reading for the collective, all signs. I'm so grateful that you're present with me today on a spiritual journey, a life journey. I pulled some cards for you. This is occurring in between the solar lunar eclipse and the solar eclipse and the lunar eclipse partial in August. If that is a reference for you, we're talking a little bit about some of the flow and ebb of some powerful energies of release. So from the Wild Unknown archetype, I pulled for you the Venom card. Other names for this card are the Curse, the Poison. And this talks about how our bodies naturally are a system of purifying and detoxifying with our respiratory breath, right? We pull in oxygen from the plant life, the energy of the natural environment, and we exhale carbon dioxide, the natural toxin that has to be released from our body. And this is part of a system, our bodily system of staying clean, inhaling fresh energy, and removing that which has already served us and is no longer enlivened. And this, in some ways, is telling me a story about some kind of psychic attack. This psychic attack can be or manifest as being attacked, being accused, someone projecting their envy of your position, talents, or power in a way that is perhaps mystifying to you because of the growth that you are sustaining at this time. So in this attack, and this is how it seems to be telling me, that you are identifying a mechanism that someone is projecting onto you that you have quite possibly done in the past. And in part, that's how you are identifying what is going on for the attacker. You recognize the pain underneath the attack. You don't take it personally because you recognize this is a process of their growth, their maturation, just as through this exercise of attack or accusation or being called out in some way or being dismissed or demeaned for some perceived power over others that you have, you recognize how much growth you've sustained from a similar kind of projection in the past. This is likely to feel very hurtful because it is coming from a very emotional and wounded place. And you recognize that, but it also is encouraging you to heal that through the way that you handle it, manage it, navigate it, open yourself up to a remedy without caving in your position or altering the perception of you that is not yours. This is the perception someone else has. It may not and is unlikely to reflect your reality, but you respect that perception and understand that it can be a tool for providing some healing, some discourse, some discussion, some exchange of ideas or experiences that can help to make the attack a teachable moment, shall we say. In the Crystal Spirit Oracle, the Jade card, how interesting, because this is showing me that in the perception of others, you are extremely powerful and abundant. And this may come as a surprise for many of you because perhaps your material resources do not feel abundant, not as abundant as you would like them to be. But what you do have is an ability to recognize abundance in a multiplicity of ways that is distinct from the way you used to be anxious about your material comfort, your material security. It isn't that your material security may have grown substantially. In fact, for many of you, it may be more challenged, but in its place has grown a gratitude for what you have, so that gratitude itself becomes the abundance. In the past, you may have been anxious about receiving abundance and mechanize that through the act of abundance, right? If I'm grateful for all I have, I'll get more. And that, although likely to be true, is actually a reversal of what I believe many of you are now beginning to experience. And that is that I'm grateful for whatever I have, as disappointing in reality as some of that may be, as not as bountiful as I had hoped. Nevertheless, I recognize that in my ability to be grateful for what I have, that's my abundance. No matter what I have, I'm grateful for it. And I understand, bottom line, because I trust that I have everything I need and that I am supported by the universe. I am loved. I am protected. So, of course, with all the other work you may be doing to keep yourself safe and secure, you recognize that Spirit is making available just those resources that are essential in many ways, because your skill at manifestation has grown. So you're able to manifest what you actually need. Your creativity is so powerful that you actually are able to manage and manipulate, and maybe not manipulate, but navigate what you have in a way that it fills in the space, the scarce spaces in your life. You're able to transform or transmute those energies into what you need in the way that you need it. So this is powerful message about the power, the affluence that you're understanding you have, even if it doesn't feel like you are affluent. You're not wealthy. You may not be prosperous. You may be actually feeling a pinch, a little anxiety, but you are training yourself. You are aligning yourself with those values that understand that you have more than enough for what you need. And that's where your manifestation skills are advancing rapidly. So this is really an interesting message to me, because it almost feels as though it is part of the preparation, not only to release old patterns, and that's something it feels like we're always being challenged to do, particularly as we grow, but it's as though it's a step towards greater visibility. And as you are stepping into this space of being seen, not hiding, speaking up, speaking your truth, standing up for yourself, you are privy to more attacks, to more envy, more pushback, more resistance. And this is showing in a way for you that you can handle this. And I have no doubt what is perceived as attack, whether it's verbal, this is not about a physical attack in that way, but a verbal attack is physical because it's delivered to us in our our bodily experience, and it evokes a lot of emotions. It can be re-traumatizing. That can be one of the first things that you experience, but your spiritual maturity and growth is inclining you to think about why that is uncomfortable and where it's coming from. What does it say about the other person or people? In the present, the Queen of Cups is interesting because I think what you are learning to speak to is your own needs. This is about clear boundaries and the power in establishing clear boundaries with others. For many of you that I'm speaking to, there is a sense of vulnerability. There may be a sense of psychic attunement that is difficult to shut down. And part of establishing these boundaries is a way to shield yourself from random and scattered psychic input or intuitive extras, because it's difficult for you to not feel perhaps what an attacker or someone who is critical of you or critical in a way that undercuts critical thinking, undercuts a belief in your positive intentions. And that can be hurtful because it's as though you can feel accused of wielding something power or energy cruelly or inconsiderately or unjustly in some way. So I do believe this is something that has rattled your emotional cage a bit, but it has allowed you, because of the work you've done, to get into your feelings, get into what is triggered by this, and really sit with it, live with it, poke at it, turn it over in order to understand what is really being pointed out, what is really being identified, not only in your own journey along your own maturation or development, but in terms of your preparation to deal with the pain of others. And because you are a healer in the past, the King of Wands, so you are a leader at some level. And there's something here telling me that you were perhaps a little more in touch with that leadership vibe. Particularly, this is creative, spiritual attunement, clear direction. You know the road you're on. You know your people. You know your tribe. You know what inspires you, and you pursue that. It's a lot of fiery power. There's a lot of clear and direct language and energy that you carry with you. You're very energized around your spiritual goals, your life goals. And your inspiration motivates and inspires others. And this, again, is something that others may be envious of. Why do people listen to this person or you? Why do you carry that? How do you have that effect on people that is envious, that feels like power, that is difficult to dissuade others from or distract others from? How do I get attention in that scenario with someone who is so strong, so clear, who speaks their truth, who is clear about their direction and has clear boundaries around that space? And for many of those onlookers, perhaps critics, accusers, you may be aware that that fire energy has transformed into a place of healing, conscious healing, certainly of yourself. This is about the self-love, the self-respect that encourages you, that inclines you to be clear that your power, your attention, your care is special. And it is powerful. It's healing you. You're stepping up to your own resources and really understanding that only you can address your needs. And that is in part through the power to articulate what those are, to be clear about what your boundaries are. In the future, the Emperor. So, of course, with major arcana cards, they don't really align with any conventional human timeline. So the Emperor is an energy that you are largely processing at this time on your journey. And this is about releasing control of those things that can't be controlled, largely external factors, the behaviors of others, for example, and instead claiming power, sovereignty, confidence in your own ability to control yourself, to apply your own internal resources in a way that advances collective work, that advances community engagement, participation. So, in my view, the emperor is very much about the seasoned leader, the wise leader. This is someone who has a history of experience in manifestation, knows how to make things happen, and knows by example how to determine the collective good and to work towards that, but not on their own. So there is an astrological alignment with Saturn being in Aries, a sign that is associated with the Emperor card. Neptune is also in Aries. So we have two energies that are claiming our dreams, demanding that we make them real, we make them practical, we ground them in real life. We stand up for them in real life. And rarely is a dream accomplished individually. It's accomplished by a whole lot of others, even if you are the author of that dream. So it takes a village indeed. I hope this is resonating for you. If so, please like this video, subscribe to my channel, Pacific Tarot. I'm not even sure that I introduced myself. I'm Regina, and I very much appreciate your presence here and all the ways that you support me. So I'm going to clarify the King of Wands in the past with the Seven of Wands and the Page of Wands. The Queen of Cups in the present is clarified by the Three of Cups and the Sun card, and the Emperor in the future is clarified by the Four of Cups, and the Queen of Cups is duplicated here. I love this. This is powerful. There's still a lot of gestation of an embodiment of the progress that you have been making for some time. And when we think about the eclipse season in general that is coming to an end, this is a 2-year cycle that we've been engaging that has focused largely on the lessons of the former nodes, the North Node having been in Pisces for a year and 18 months, and the South Node being in Virgo. So those lessons we've learned, we've applied, we're still applying those as the nodes have shifted into Aquarius and Leo. So all of that is to say we're still embodying what we've learned, how we've grown. And that embodiment comes in many forms, and one of them apparently is in your ability to respond to the accusations, the charges, even the attacks of others. And this can include spiritual attacks, because the attacks by individuals are often shrouded in the shadow work, the shadow experience of others, and they're bringing up your own shadow for you to look at, for you to identify. Wow, I used to think that way. I used to see things that way. I used to see myself that way. And this is all part of us really releasing this energy so that we are moving into a more powerful sense of our own flow. So the Seven of Wands and the Page of Wands is clarifying this leadership quality, this fire that you bring, this inspirational and spiritual alignment, this almost righteousness that you bring as a leader. Your presence is energizing. And this includes the ability to speak up for yourself, stand up for yourself, articulate your position to create clear boundaries. So the Seven of Wands is really a beautiful card. In this deck, it's like there is the shadow world that you are standing strong in confrontation to with regards to. You are releasing things that once scared you, horrified you, when you have been attacked in the past or criticized in some way that feels unfair. You have been defensive, but your response is not that anymore. It doesn't feel like it is. It feels like you've learned a new way to respond. And that new way of responding is to look at the charges, look at the accusation with clarity, to see what is actually being shown to you. And this is about recognizing the reflection in your own experience, how you are now in a position to respond differently, to not own the attack, to not internalize the sense of envy or perception of others that does not reflect your experience, your behavior. So this is really about the moment of holding this perceived attack or this virtual real attack, and to craft it into the energy that can uh, help you to help someone else align with the opportunity for growth, for discussion, for healing out of a situation that has appeared to be an attack, name calling, that clearly comes from a place of pain, of wounding, of feeling scared, a lack of in the vision of your power, your affluence, your perceived affluence. And in that way, it's helping you to understand, even if you don't perceive yourself to be uh, as powerful or as affluent as someone else may believe you are, that you have indeed shifted your experience of that, of security, of stability in who you are, what your power is, what your flow is, how you define your flow. So power, these are tools, right? Affluence is often perceived as having wealth, having things, but when we perceive affluence as being abundant, then anything constitutes, any and all things constitute as our abundance. And here the Queen of Cups brings us to our sense of self-love, self-respect, our sense that we have all that we need, or that whatever we have, we've learned to address, confront, deal with our own needs as primary, to articulate our desires. And that can be scary material for many of us. The idea that you are allowed to have wants and desires and dreams, and you're allowed to take care of yourself first. Particularly for those of you that are nurturers, caregivers, providers by any position or role that you inhabit. This is about understanding that you can't love in a healthy way if you are not self-loving. That must be central. And with the Three of Cups and the Sun card, wow, you are just blossoming. You are shining. And I can see the envy. You have support everywhere. And in particular, for some of you, you are part of a perceived as a very powerful or a trio of power. So there may be other people, one or two, it can be any number really, but there may be a way that you are perceived by others to be part of this triumvirate of control, power, beauty, leadership that others may envy. But for you, it really does represent this place of being seen. And this feels like it's coming out of uh, that more isolated, quiet, alone space that you have specifically cultivated to do this healing, to heal the wounds of your heart, perhaps the damage that you have sustained as being accused, being envied, incurring jealousy, uh, being in the spotlight, and the attention that that has uh, created for you that you were not able to manage in the past. But you are meant to be in the sun. You are meant to shine. You're meant to lead others into the sunshine, into a place of visibility, standing up and articulating this beautiful abundance that the world has to offer. So there's a lot of creative energy in here. There's a lot of support that you have, and this support can come from not only friends and family in our material world on planet Earth, but from a powerful team of ancestors, guides that you literally work with at a super conscious level, and that entails the world, the life of dreaming. The dreaming is likely to be a source of inspiration, information, destination for many of you. So this is bringing that super consciousness, that ability to bask in the abundance, the bounty of the universe into your mundane life, to make that available to others through your person in some way, through your actions, through your deeds, through your support. What lovely energy. Feels like some kind of authenticity that is uh, developing, an authenticity that is becoming more and more comfortable to display in a way that you have been cultivating in more of a secret, hidden space as part of that healing, right? Working with these shadows has afforded you this place of feeling ready to interact with, engage with, even confront the perception of you in the world, the perception of your deeds, your words in the world, and to recognize that that does not define you. And in the future, the Emperor is clarified by the Four of Cups and the Queen of Cups again. It's interesting because I think this is a long healing journey you've been on. And for most of us, our healing journey is our life journey. If one is conscious, if one wants to improve upon their experience of life, their experience of affluence in the world, the quality of your life, these are decisions that you make every day. But you're in that powerful place of knowing you choose your reality. This is the Emperor's space. You take responsibility for the life you lead, for the decisions you've made, thereby creating your reality, owning that. And part of that process, another four here as the Emperor in the Four of Cups, is that practical magic. It's the way I love to think about it. The way we choose every day those things that support us, those things that see us, those things that feel good. Wow. How about that? For some of us, choosing what feels good feels wrong or has felt wrong, or we didn't feel worthy, or were we allowed to do that? We didn't know. Nobody told us we could choose things that felt easy, that felt good. And by feeling good or feeling easy, I don't mean that there's no work involved. It's not about sitting back and coasting in nirvana. This is really about choosing things that support you and then inspire you to do the work for which you are being acknowledged and recognized for. For many of you, this is all about your place of being prepared to heal. This is the backup to your leadership. Because underneath the facade of leadership, the executive function of leadership is the ability to model your strength in a way that helps others find theirs. Modeling self-love, this helps others find the primacy of that in their lives. So the very act of creating some kind of abundance, good, progress for others and the sense of a collective or a community is about empowering others. So this is something that you have been working on in your own life in a very gentle way, dealing with the emotions, our feelings, our creative imaginations, all the soft skills that we've been programmed to believe are not important. They don't lead to the kind of wealth or affluence that we've been told is the goal of our lives, what success is comprised of. Instead, you recognize that behind any leader, and I'm not just talking about the person out in front, this can be the leadership of your own life, your own business, a committee, a team that you're a part of, is this way of drawing in others to your level, drawing in and inspiring others to fully participate, excuse me, and take credit for the experience of building happiness, building abundance, building desire, building something that you want to create, finding the matches, matching yourselves in your environment, everybody pulling in at an equitable level. So this is not about a template for achieving consensus. This is about working the work of relationships, the work of building a community, a team, a system that supports everyone that's a part of it. This is powerful. I'm going to finish this reading with a flower oracle and hope that this has been helpful. I'm not going to do this, but the nasturtium, the key word is grounding. The beginning is where you need to be. So this takes me back to the beginning, where I think the perception or the experience of being attacked was a reflection of the perception by others of your affluence, your abundance, your wealth, your prosperity, your power, and your ability to work with that, to not dismiss it, to not reflect it back, but to really hold that perception and recognize how it can be worked at to create what the collective desires, what the community needs. We're talking practical tools and we're talking quality of life here. So thank you so much for this beautiful reading. Until next time, namaste.